Yes, Sarah? Excellent.
Thank you,
So
Daniel.
now that we're recorded, so welcome everybody to this first UASA book club. It's been an initiative that's been discussed for years, I would say. Left and right, side conversation in corridors when we were at the ASTI or elsewhere. The idea of finding a topic that we can all share and that relates to our industry. So I think the laundry room does part of that, bringing some topics. But now with this new angle, with having a, a how would I say that, um, um, a book that's been celebrated by its peers, like Simon Sinek's Start with Why. I believe that it will bring more value. And I'll take a minute to just say who I am for those of you who might not know me. So my name is Daniel Bolle. It's if you had to say it when you read it, you would say Buell. So Beaule. I'm from Montreal, Canada, so that's why I have this accent. So bear with me. Um, and I have some conversations sometimes with Doug, and he says that after a while he starts speaking Canadian. So I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but still. So bear with me. We'll focus on the topic and not my accent. Um, and I'm glad to take this initiative on. It's my first time, like I said in the chat on the Facebook page, it's my first time doing this. I don't think it takes a master degree to facilitate a book club, but I'm still nervous, so I'll ask you for your forgiveness if something doesn't go as professional as it could. Just so you know, I run an appliance repair company in Montreal. We have 15 techs, so 12 employees, 3 subcontractors, and we're a team of 25. And we've been running this business it's my 13th year. So we bought this business from mom and pops that were in the suburb of Montreal. And aside from that, I'm a coach and I'm reading a lot of books. I was happy to get in touch with Simon Sinek a while ago. For those of you who were able to see the YouTube video, the Golden Circle, I think it's been in 2007 or 2009 that it's been a while that he got this idea of purpose and why, start with why. So I read the book a while ago and I had to go through it once again to be sure that I can be of help when comes the time to facilitate. So my role, I would suggest that my role is not to teach whatever is in this book, but more facilitate. Maybe I'll probably clarify some things if I can, if I can, I'll bring my bit into the conversation, but it's really about your understanding, and we'll try to apply it in our industry. So the good thing is we're all in the appliance repair industry. So, and I believe that in all industry it applies, but in ours, it can be in a certain way. So we'll see what you're doing. We'll share about that. So I suggest we do a quick roundtable to have everybody to present themselves. So I will ask what's your name, where you're located, are you an owner or manager? How many employees do you have? And we, because we're 7 so far, it will be easy. And I will ask Ron, George, and Ivan to put their camera on because it's always, and Misty, if you're able to do so. Otherwise, we do this for free. We try to share the best we can with you guys, and our reward is to see your face, see how you react. So if you can share your video, it will be appreciated. So thank you, Walter, for sharing your video. You're the only one so far, aside from Doug and I. And Misty, you came back. Thank you.
Sorry.
So, and Walter, I just want to make sure that it's secure what you're doing right now, because it feels like you're doing 2 things at the same time. So can you tell us where you're from and how large is your company and what's your role in your company and why you decided to, well, let's do it like this. Your name, where you're located, the size of your company, and why you decided to join this meeting?
Metairie, Anderson, Louisiana. We're about 20 minutes from Metairie, which is right next to New Orleans. Everybody knows where New Orleans is. I'm the owner. I have 3 employees, 2 full-time techs, and Tiffany, who runs the office and schedules. I got into this because I did it when I was young. Washers, dryers, and pick up the old ones, would haul them off, and would fix them and sell them as used. So I went to college. I graduated from college at Southeastern with a bachelor's in criminal justice, of all things. I went to work for about 5 years, and then
Hey,
Katrina shut the place down. So I
we'll
needed a
need to
job.
Walter will need to keep this shorter because we have lots to cover. So tell us about why you decided to join this meeting.
Oh, the meeting? Because I like books.
Because you like books.
I listen to a lot of audiobooks.
Okay,
Yes.
good. Perfect. Thank you. All right. So Misty, your turn.
Hi, well, my name is Misty. I'm with Westside Appliance in Urbandale, Iowa. I have been in the appliance repair industry for about 20 years. I am the operations manager here at the company. I love to read, and I love growth and learning new things about myself. And I'm big on, if I'm not learning something new, I'm not growing. So that's why I'm here.
Good. Well, welcome. Ivan.
My name is Ivan, owner of DLC Whole Home Solutions in Phoenix, Arizona. And joined the meeting to kind of grow my business. I had 1 tech and 2 admin, but had a downsize recently, so now it's just me and 1 admin. But wanna continue to grow and progress from there.
Good. Thank you. Welcome. Ron. Looks like your microphone's not working, Ron. We can't hear you. I'll go to George and you could come back after Ron. So George.
Hey everybody, how y'all doing?
Hello.
Good.
Good. Hey, I'm in the Charleston, South Carolina area. We have 13 employees. Only 2 of them are technicians besides myself. The rest, we do a lot of sales, so we have a heavy sales staff and delivery team and stuff like that. The reason I'm on here is because I like to hear Daniel's accent. And the reason I have my camera off is because I was just laying down on the couch listening, and I knew Doug would probably give me hell if I was just kicked back and relaxed. So I decided to keep my camera off.
All right.
We need you, George.
Thank you very much, George. So you'll be well served today with an extra 80 minutes of my accent, so
Awesome.
scattered around all of our sharing. So
It's a
Doug.
pleasure.
What? Oh, me? Oh, sorry. With your accent, it sounded like really quick. I didn't hear my name. So anyway, we have 16 technicians and 10 support staff. I'm the general manager. I started in 1988 as a technician. Why I'm here, why I've been reading more in the last couple of years is realizing as a leader, it's not going to get any better unless I get smarter. So looking forward to hanging out with people like you and learning how to do business better.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And yes, it's a commitment to put these hours in learning. And I totally believe that the amount of things we'll hear during these meetings will be rich. So I wish to us all to enrich ourselves with everybody's thoughts. So let's not wait further. Were you all able to read a couple chapters of the book? and or watch the Golden Circle video?
I've read it before and got caught up to chapter 4, but I did not know about the video. So that stinks. I'll go watch that. So
Okay. I invite you to, if you want to summarize this, it lasts 17 minutes. And that's really his first, that's when he became popular. It's a TED Talk where it's probably like number 2, number 3 of the most viewed TED Talk anywhere. So it's very powerful, and to see him explain it. So is there anybody who wants to take a shot on explaining the golden circles and the why, the how, or what, or you want me to lay the table and then we share on this? What do you prefer?
I feel like people with accents are judgy. So why don't you lay the foundation and we'll build off of that?
All right. Okay. So in short, Simon Sinek explained in a very different, and you see it in the books when he talks about Martin Luther King, when he talks about Steve Jobs, that usually we're more focused on what we're doing and how we're doing it. So if we apply it to the appliance repair industry, what we're doing, we're repairing appliances. The way we do it in-house. We do it with technicians that visit households. They do it by being professional. We have our ways of doing things, and usually businesses, when they run based on these 2 principles, the what and the why. Not often we go as far as asking why we're doing what we're doing. And probably a good example of why we're doing what we're doing in appliance repair industry is when we say we want to restore confidence in our industry. We start talking about purpose when we talk about, we believe we'd be willing to fight to show that what we're doing has an impact. It's important. It's a building block in our community. And we repair confidence, customer confidence, as well as appliances. So the why is paramount, and it lifts mountains. It can drive people to do the extra effort. Tough part is that it's easy to say, but it's hard to articulate and execute in a whole system, in a business where you have all these processes. And how do you make sure that your why is we can see it in every bit of your business? So this is how I lay the table down. I would invite you to share what's your thought of the golden circle now. Anybody?
My instinct is always to talk, so I'm just pausing for a minute.
Well, you can go, Doug, and then we'll name people to invite them to share.
And anyone can shut me down too.
Yeah, exactly. I control the microphone, so that's good.
Yeah, please do. I'm already. Well, I read this. I actually listened to this book at the beginning of the year, and it's like right up my alley. Like, why is everything to me? And I feel like why is the horizon, and the journey that we're on. Sometimes we don't get as far as we want to, or we get farther than we want to. Or I feel like the why is what keeps us on track, and we have to take lefts and rights, and we have to. Like Ivan shared, you've had to restructure and start over. But if your why is real and you're living for it, it doesn't matter that you had to take one step back. You're still heading in that direction. So why is critical for me. And I use a lot of words, so I need to use less and be effective in explaining our why. But we're in that process now at the company to define our why in less than 7 words. And I'm looking forward to that. So.
Thank you. Thank you. So Misty, do you want to pick up on this and share what's your take?
In full honesty, I haven't started the book yet, but I'm looking forward to making sure to grab that today and get up to speed. So yeah, just full transparency. I was not prepared today, so
okay,
I'm
well,
looking forward to it.
Thank you for being honest on this. Thank you. Walter.
I couldn't get it unmuted. Sorry. I kind of thought of it as an 80-20 rule because I'm familiar with that, and it seemed a lot like the 80-20. But at one point, he said it was like 2% of people were really drawn to any one particular thing. So it seems like it was a lot smaller than 20%.
Okay. So, how do you link what you just said to the golden circles?
That's kind of how I thought of them. I was really confused by the golden circles, to be honest with you. I didn't know they had a video, and I will definitely watch it because that part was kind of hard for me to follow.
Okay, perfect. So I strongly suggest for those of you who felt it was not obvious in the book to go see the video in 17 minutes. You'll have it all pretty clear actually, and it's nice to see because when we talk about the why, we really talk about the heart. Why are you getting up in the morning? Why do you do what you're doing? Why didn't you choose something else? Why is it important for you? And when I work with companies and we establish their why, we did an exercise where we ask the why 5 times, because understanding what's the why, it's not obvious. When we ask people what you're doing, they say we're an appliance repair company, we repair appliances. Why do you do that? Because they're broken. Why is it important for you to repair these appliances? Because people need their appliances to work, but you could do anything else in your life. Why is it important that you want to do this specific, to be in this specific trade? And then getting to this point, it's not obvious, but then you get to sentences where people will start to say, I always thought that I could make a difference. I felt like I felt like I have an impact in my industry. I feel like I can give back to the world. I feel, so when you start being connected with, it's not about your rational or competencies. It's more about your emotion, your core. It's would you fight for what you're doing right now? Is it important for you? So this is very powerful because it helps you connect with other people, with your employees, with your suppliers, and when they understand that you're not just an appliance repair company, you're there because you believe that it should be more respected. It should have to be better seen, and it's a trade in the industry that's complex, it's complicated, and it's worth knowing and understanding that there are lots of people working a lot to help everyone, and we're all exposed to broken appliances. So
I love the image, Daniel. Maybe an onion. So you're saying, let's ask why at least 5 times, because you might say, well, I want to fix appliances well. Well, why? And you just keep peeling that back to whatever that core why is for you. And it probably won't mention appliances at all.
Yeah.
It's going to be about something that you aspire for, like you're trying to reach this goal of financial freedom, or if it's about people. See, we're in the service business. So I think that many of us have a servant heart. And so I bet that a lot of our whys will be similar in the sense that it's about making people's day better, or meeting people where they're at, or helping them. But you kind of gotta peel through to the core of it. And it won't mention Maytag dishwasher. I'm pretty sure it won't, right?
Exactly. We'll probably start to talk about values. Yes, like.
Yeah.
So, who else wants to give his 2 cents on the golden circles? Ivan, were you able to read a couple chapters?
No, I just saw the email like 5 minutes before the meeting, so I wanted to join to at least get as much information as possible, but no, I did not get to read it or see the video.
Okay, perfect. So we'll have homeworks leaving the meeting.
Yeah.
So for next meeting, you'll all know what you need to read or prepare. So George, were you able to read a couple chapters? We understand that George might be laying down and
He
he's
fell
just
asleep. Unbelievable, George. Of course I'm going to be angry. Gosh darn. Hey, of the people that I can see, do you mind if I ask a question, Daniel?
you go ahead. It's our
of
meeting.
those of us here, does anyone here truly identify with the importance of why? Or are there people here that are like, I never thought of that, or yeah, I can see how it can benefit us? Where do you guys land in, you know, the geeky world of why?
You guys hear me now?
Hey, Ron.
Yes. We're
Yeah, I'm
glad.
having some technical difficulties here. It's telling me I got to shut things down to get the camera going.
All right.
So I'll work on that. But to me, the why is going to change. Like the why is never going to stay the same, depending on where you are in your, you know, your journey in life or career. Myself, it's changed many times. It's gone from wanting to learn to know more, to learning and knowing more and being able to repair things, get the satisfaction of fixing something, helping the customer out, getting them going again. And then there has been times when the why was just to make money and keep the bills paid, because that comes first. If you don't have that taken care of, the rest doesn't matter, right? You're in panic mode trying to. So I've gone through some career changes and different things like that, right? And appliance repair was actually my side business. I used to be an automotive technician, so kind of went into automotive training from there and trained automotive technicians, and that it kind of fell through the everything dropped off. Wasn't getting any enough to pay the bills and make ends meet. So I went back on the bench as an automotive technician, started my appliance repair business on the side again. So then I'm in kind of panic mode, right? My why is keeping food on the table and the mortgage paid.
Yeah.
So,
What's your why right now, Ron?
for me now, I have a few whys. My biggest why that I'm working on right now is I'm putting together a database of appliance tech sheets, service bulletins, and I've also got it's set up so like from your phone you can click through and try to get, because you guys know when we're looking for service manuals and tech sheets, not always easy enough to find things, right? So I kind of went through them all in some similarities in service modes and stuff like that, brought it all together so you can go in and choose your appliance type, your manufacturer, and then you choose from a list of user interfaces. Click on the user interface and it gets you through the how to enter service mode and then the different functions in the service mode. So it's all kind of about getting the information quick and not having to waste time. Plus, if we don't have that information, like the service bulletins and everything, we can't properly service the customer. So I guess that's my why and passion right now. I'm also still running my appliance repair company too. So out on the road, helping people out that way.
Do
So
you
a few
mind
different
me
whys, like I
asking?
say. Sorry, a few different whys and it's changed over the years, right?
Yes. Do you mind me asking you a couple questions just to go around this and discuss your why?
Sure.
Okay. So you're telling us that how you like to offer appliance repair services is to be prepared, to have access to tech sheet, to build a system, to be efficient, because you believe that it's important for you to probably to be well prepared, maybe do some first call completes, something like that. Does it make sense?
Yeah, exactly. You know, if the customer's paying us and we should be charging right for our services, right? Don't want to be the chuck in the truck out there changing parts for $50. You know what I mean? I charge a decent fee, but I want my customers to see that value. So I think
Yes.
there's a lot that goes along with that. It's part of that is the research and knowing, being able to go in there fast. And the customer always says, you know, oh, I hope your next job is as easy as this one. They don't see what goes into it ahead of time. So, but it's part of the job. If you don't go in prepared, you're not only going to waste your time and the customer's time, you could be misdiagnosing for some reason because things have changed. I went through the same transition in the automotive when fuel injection came in, computers came in. It started out slow like this did, where the information was hard to get and a lot of the self-diagnostics wasn't the greatest. But I see it getting better and better, but the information's not getting out there. So,
Okay.
all right, I
So-
rambled on.
I'll ask you one last question and then we'll continue because it's interesting. I would say, you know, and I'm not Simon Sinek from far from that, but I would say that you stated lots of how, you know, we want to be fast, we want to have tech sheets, we want to have service buttons, we want our service to seem simple, we want to have first call complete, and we don't want people to pay for a fraud. So I would ask you, why is it important for you to not be a fraud in front of your customer and be as professional? Why is it important for you?
We're going deep now. That's a good question.
Yes, it is.
I guess
You
it's important to me for a selfish reason to, you know, you want to be the hero. You want to help people out. You want to fix things.
That's good.
It would be maybe as a selfish why, I guess. It's all about feeling good at the end of the day about what you've done that day too, right?
Yeah, no, I don't think we can discuss what you just said. You know, it's totally acceptable. Are you, because we didn't hear how many employees you have in your business?
Just two, just myself, and then I have a lady booking all my service calls for me and doing that sort of thing.
Okay. And is it important for you that this person acts the way you do it, to look as professional as possible and to give the idea that your service is simple and fast and everything? Is it important for you?
Oh yeah, I think any kind of business is important to look professional, for sure.
Would you fire this person if she wasn't as professional as your standard is?
Oh, well, yeah, I've never had that situation, so she's very professional. I've never had an issue, but I don't know. Again, at the end of the day, feeling good about myself. It'd have to be pretty awful circumstance for me to go to that extreme, I guess you would say. I would try to fix the underlying problem before taking that drastic measure, I think.
All right, I would have more questions for you, but I'll just change a subject if it's okay with you. Thank you, Ron, for sharing and being candid about this. It's really appreciated. Doug, you have a question?
Yeah, can I just piggyback off of what Ron said and then key into Misty? Because Misty and I are managers of somebody else's company and vision. And, you know, as employees, kind of driving the bus often. Misty, do you know your company's why? Do you know what the owner of your company or owners are looking for?
I'm terrible with words here. I think that we can do better with just everybody being on the same page with the why, I would say. And actually being more proactive with the why and verbalizing the why. I think a lot of times we get so caught up in the things that need to be done and the things that need to improve, that kind of takes up a lot of the positives. So for me, I mean, obviously I want to encourage staff. I want people to grow personally, professionally. I think anytime you grow on a personal level, obviously you're gonna grow on a professional level. So it's inspiring people, coaching people. I want to be, your biggest cheerleader. I want, you know, we're a very, very good company to work with when it comes to being very understanding. And so, yeah, it's a little bit different, I would say, than maybe like a business owner. So I totally see what you're saying in that capacity.
Although we get the perks, or maybe they're not the perks, of when things go wrong, or
Yeah.
the chaos, we have to kind of correct it and make amends and coach and hold people accountable. So having that why driving us in our sales certainly helps. Like, for instance, when you guys start reading, I think it's in chapter 1, he talks about a story of a world figure. And then he says, who do you think it is? And, you know, it could be JFK or it could be Hitler. And because all the details weren't there, but the facts look very similar, people could have gone in either direction. And so when we have a team of people that we're leading, if we don't have that why really clearly spelled out, there's no bad person here. If somebody's in the wrong direction because the why isn't clear, that's because that's how they perceived it. And they're not at fault. They're not bad people. It's always back on us to be able to deliver that clear why and be impeccable with our words so that we know exactly who we're talking about. But can you imagine making a decision and you're guessing JFK and it's really Hitler? That would make you feel terrible inside, you know? So I love that analogy of enough facts you think you know what the situation is, but the reality is it can be gray, and then we're on different pages. And so a clear why is so important.
I actually have on my board right in front of me, be impeccable with your word. I don't know if you've read the 4 agreements.
Yeah,
I'm actually in the middle of reading that right now. It's amazing.
Yes.
Book. So yeah.
Yeah, good book.
So Doug, what would be the why in your business?
Well, it's funny because we just had a meeting today with the owner, our weekly meeting, and we're working in the traction book to come up with our core focus.
Yeah.
Oops. Oh, Walter's got to mute one of them. That's all. And so we have to define our core focus, and the way you do that is to know your why and your what. You got to know your why, Walter. You're gonna have to mute both mics. You have to know your why and your what. So we just dove in. We have a mission statement, a vision statement. We have a code of values, but it's a lot of great things, but it doesn't have a clear focus. So we're excited about it. And just from my notes, I have terrible handwriting. We boiled it down that people matter to us. And so that's the beginning of us really coming up with like 7 words to explain our why. We want to make their day better. When there's a problem, we want to be the problem solvers. When there's a mistake, we want to take accountability for it. We want to apologize before they have to ask for an apology. So people matter to us. That is the beginning of something that's going to be our why, Daniel.
This is pretty powerful, actually. This is pretty, and you know, I talked about the why exercise. You know, we want to act before our customer do. We want to be proactive. All those things you just said. I would have asked, why is it important for you? And saying people matters, you probably have something that's pretty powerful that you, and I would say just this is a pretty strong why. So that's a good thing. And you know, this why usually what Sinek said is, you know, after a day of work, if you work on your X, working in respect of your purpose, of your why, you'll be tired, you'll be out of energy because you worked a lot, but you'll be filled with this sense of impact where you did the good thing, and you'll sleep tight. So
I think we're going to be tired all the time, Daniel, because if we don't have a strong why, we're doing what Misty was talking about. Oh my gosh, somebody's felt an injustice. Oh, we made a mistake here. Oh, I've got to train and correct. Oh, they didn't understand what we meant by what our purpose is. So we're working hard reactively, or we can be proactive. And it certainly does fill the tank to know your why. It gives you that energy you need to sustain yourself.
Yeah. So based on that, others in the room, would you like to share what fills your tank when you're aside with bucks? You know, what fills your tank when you finished your day's work?
I would say the sense of accomplishment too. I think everybody obviously that definitely fills my tank, feeling like I've accomplished what I've set out to do for the day.
Just don't check your email at the end of the night.
I'm terrible. I check it all the time. There's never no work time for me, and I need to find a good balance with that.
And Misty, I would like to ask you a question or two, if it's okay with you. You talked, is it okay with you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, perfect. I don't want you to ask me any question. You talked about it's important to grow. You talked about learning. Why is it important for you to grow and to learn and help your people grow?
I want to do better. I don't really think even setting a goal is there really ever really a goal? I mean, to me, a goal is like an ending point, and I find myself constantly kind of just pushing that further out each time. But I think that I'm really big on just wanting to continuously grow and moving those, those levels of boundaries or goals that I thought I once had, kind of moving those forward even further, pushing myself. I know I did laundry room with Doug not long ago, and that was actually a really big deal for me. I don't have any issue speaking to people typically, but I would say anytime that like you're fearful of doing something, just like dive right in, because like right afterwards they're like, oh my god, I want to do it again. Like I think it like also released, there's some technical thing behind it, like releases some type of dopamine or something. Like it just I think just conquering fears in any capacity, whether it's, having to have a difficult conversation with an employee or conquering fears, on a personal level. Each time you conquer a fear, you're growing, and you're feeling more confident about that situation. So that's big for me, is continuously trying to grow, which would be conquering some fears that I have, being more confident in areas that I wasn't previously so confident in. I had, I don't know, I think it's easy for people to just kind of become complacent in lots of areas in life. It's comfortable to be there, very natural to be there. So it's like taking a conscious effort to like make sure that you don't get there. I had some big health things that happened in the past couple of years that, just was very eye-opening for me. I feel like I was just kind of cruising through life and just the middle zone, like, just tomorrow's another day, but each day is absolutely important, in how you live it and how you treat people and the things that you push yourself to do. So
it's great. By the way, there's a laundry room in December. I'm in it, so I'll sign you in, Misty. You and I will do that one. All right.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Now you're caught. You'll have to do several of them.
Let's
Well,
release some dopamine.
Each time it's going to be easier, and I'm going to feel more confident. And someday I'll be just doing my own, right?
Yo, there you go.
Goal?
January. We'll have you do it in January.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I caught that you said, I don't want to be complacent. And Doug, you talk about mattering. People matter. We probably want to matter as well. And you said something. You talked about the vision and mission. The way I see things. When you have a mission statement, it's actually what you're doing and how you're doing it, and the purpose is the why. So when you want to have the golden circle, you just add the purpose part, and you have the 3 circles in your statement. So Ivan is somewhere else. Okay. So Walter,
Yes.
from what you've just heard, what is the most important for you? What we talked about, people matter. That's why Doug does what he does. Misty says it's important to grow. There's a sense of accomplishment. This is a reason why she she's doing what she's doing. Why are you doing what you're doing aside from making money?
To help people fix their problems.
And
That's my why. And that's what I'm trying. I've always been dancing around it. I've never been able to put it as strongly worded as I feel like comes across. And that this book really got me to that point. So I feel that it's extremely important because it helps everybody who surrounds you to know where their decision needs to be going before they have to ask you about it. So if you know my mission, our mission in life is to help people fix their problems. What's their problem? This is broken. Can it? We don't always fix the things that we go out to fix, but we fix the problem of letting them know what to do and what direction to go in. So if the guys know that that's their job and they're always working to fix problems and they know that they earn their paycheck, and at the end of the day, what refills their tank is satisfying that why. So it kind of comes full circle to, in my mind, and that's why it's so important. And without having that, you tend to get off on different roads and lose focus on things. So I think the why is extremely important all in itself. Everything else is great. Everybody should want to grow. Everybody should want to make money, but it kind of comes second nature, and knowing the why is always going to keep driving.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Ivan, you're back. So from what you've heard, how do you receive this? What would be your why? Why do you do what you're doing?
So my why is kind of a dual why. I love working with my hands, so I love, you know, tearing things apart and putting them back together. I've been doing it since I was 6 years old, repairing my own game consoles and computers, and built my own computer. My very first computer I built from a bunch of parts. So that's my passion. So the other part of it is to provide a service to people that they know they didn't get scammed, because there's a lot of that going around. And what fills my tank is at the end of the day when I see the customer is happy with the service they got, and know that it was honest work.
Nice.
And why would you say it's important for you to see that they're happy and that it was honest work? Why is it important for you? How do you feel?
It makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I'm making a change. That's one thing is I do want to, when I do leave a footprint that I did make an impression, and a good one, and that, you know, that continues, you know, going forward. So
It's wonderful, man. Legacy, honesty, and
Yeah.
working with your hands. That's a great why right there. That's a really great one.
Good. So I think we opened the door to discuss how it unfolds in the appliance industry. We talked about the why. We have many different reasons why you get up in the morning to do your day's work, but somehow there's something similar in everything you're doing because it's important, because you want to make a difference. So my question would be, how does having a clear why applies in our industry and in a business where you have to have a common goal, a common why with the people you're working with? So how does this apply in our industry?
I'll tell you how it applies to me as the guy in charge, because, you know, when everything goes wrong, it's always my fault or Misty's fault or
Right.
fault, right? Is that there are times when we get all the facts to make a decision, and sometimes it's not enough, and we have to trust our intuition. And so we're using both and trying to make the best decision we can, right? And sometimes we blow it, or sometimes it works, it goes well, right? And so our intuition is something, and I'm no I'm not smart in this realm, but I feel like my intuition is part of my subconscious. So Walter, your why is to take care of people and to help people. And I feel like because that's who you are, and I've met Walter a few times at the bar at Asti, and I don't know how many drinks Annie got, but Walter is a relational guy, and so I do believe you have that servant heart. So your intuition will sometimes guide you with that why that's inside of you. And that's good because we have to cut ourselves some slack, right? From the 4 agreements, that if we do all the facts and we do all the intuition and we make a decision and it doesn't work out the way we wanted it to, we have to get that. The why gives us the grace. Hey, I did the best I could to help those customers today, even though it didn't work out. So that why powers us through the failures and through the successes, through our intuition and through our learning and growing in our process of gathering facts. That's how it works for me at the top.
Great point. I was looking at it more like a way of sharing your vision and what would the boss want you to do, kind of guideline.
Yeah, well, it's that too, though. It's definitely that as well. I have to know what Jay wants in the business, right? Absolutely.
Definitely has to have some clear expectations.
What, the why?
When you said you have to know what the boss wants, I think everybody has to have clear expectations.
Yes, yeah. Mission, vision, statement, culture.
Yeah, mission statement, yes.
Yeah, your culture, it all helps in that. And can you imagine at the top, if Jay wasn't consistent with his why, well, then that kind of like messes everything up. And so there's just a lot of pressure to know your why. And again, be okay with making a mistake and screwing up, because the horizon is our why. And yeah, we might have just gone left here. And I got 2 employees that are mad at me because they lost money or they're frustrated. And I just got to get us back on track. Apologize for doing my best, but this is why, because people matter to us, right? But I do think it's a map for our employees. I think it's a map, our why, for them to know what the next steps are. Because their intuition is in play as well. I mean, we have great scripts, now our CSRs read a script and they memorize it, but our technicians have their own variations of scripts. But in their purpose of why, it's like, whatever I'm doing here today, I have to make their day better because people matter to us. And so they have to now trust their intuition and instincts to do the right thing, to make the right decision, to give a discount, to call a manager before they leave, to make sure that the customer is taken care of and there's no period of time of waiting, because that didn't make their day better, right? So I feel like it's a roadmap for our employees.
Taking care of a customer is just as much as important as taking care of that appliance. Sometimes you actually have to fix the customer for the most part.
Yes, absolutely.
And yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if you have a strong sense of why, that'll motivate you to get to the how and what, and everything else will just come with that.
Yeah. And not to be the dead horse, but Ivan, the 3 new techs you hire in the next year or so, they hopefully will do their best attempt of being a version of Ivan, and they're going to make decisions. And as long as you can talk it through and say, well, why did you do that? Well, because you told me this is what's important to us. And it's like, yeah, but I didn't say you can give them $1,000 back or whatever it is. You have to say, well, thank you for doing what you did because you were focused on what we're all about. But in the future, don't do that again. Do this and this and this. And so, right.
Lots of good things have been said here. So how do, for those of you who didn't speak in the last few minutes. How does your purpose or why unfolds in your daily actions? Ron, you feel like you're going to unmute?
Yeah, I just unmuted. I still, there's so many different ways to take the why and where the why comes from. You can look at the why from like the book. It's a sales book, basically. From what I've read so far, it's about the why is selling your company to your customers, but there's also the why of your employees, motivating your employees if they have if they know what their why is. Like, you can't to go and tell somebody what to do, it's not going to go over well. But if they know the why and they just know what to do, it makes a difference, right? Yeah, it's I'm probably overthinking it, maybe. I'm not sure, but to me, the why at the end of the day is just to feel good about what I did that day and feel that I've helped the customer to the best of my ability. And you know, I guess at the end of the day, happy customer, right? And you can look at it too as far as keeping maybe the appliance out of the landfill. All of that kind of plays into it, but it's all, to me, I guess at the end of the day, I want to feel good, and like you say, I want to sleep good, right?
And that's good enough, and it's perfect like this. Exactly. This being said, no, I'll take Doug's why. People matter. When, let's say, on the door of our building, we write people matter, and we decide to act upon it, whatever situation happens, we might take a hit financially. We might have to fire a customer who's not respectful of our employees. We might have to fire an employee that is not taking care of our people. When you have a strong why, and if you couple that with strong values, a set of 4 to 7 values, core values, that's what you're willing to stand for. Let's say there's respect in this. There was a lack of respect from a customer to your employee. Sorry, sir, we decide we can't service you anymore because we cannot allow you to show disrespect to our employees. It takes the employee manual and everything that's procedure-wise away, and people can start thinking with this. Does it matter? Do we take care of people when we do this? Our employees, our suppliers, our customers? If yes, we do it. If we don't, and then you just need to make sure that your revenue model will stick to the road. Sometimes you need to go up to a certain point. But so I just dropped this in the pool. So how do you read
You
that?
know what, Daniel? It never ends either. It's not like you get to some spot of success. In the book, I don't have the details, but it talks about, off the top of my head, but it talks about Walmart. I love in this book that he looks at real life stories and breaks it down like a play-by-play player, announcer, right? But he's suggesting, and I remember, I don't remember some of the core values of Walmart when it first started, but it was pretty high and lofty, and it's how they became the giant that they were. But they lost, according to Simon, they lost track of their why. And they started focusing on the things that worked, the thing that made the magic happen, which is low prices. And so I would say that we all agree that Walmart today is less than excellent, less impressive than we remember it to be 10 and 20 years ago. They've lost their why. And it's almost, and for at least in Connecticut, it's like a freaking zoo when you go into a Walmart. It's out of control. And it's all, and why do I keep going there? Because of the price. But but that's not the why that Walmart built their empire on. They're one of the biggest. I think it said in this book or another book that their per capita is bigger than some third world countries around the world. That's how big Walmart is. And yet they're lost because they've lost their why. So it never ends. We need to keep staying focused on that why. And I want to challenge the group to say that I don't think whys, I think whys can evolve a little bit, but I think if you settle on something, it should be able to build into your legacy. And maybe I don't know, I'm speaking maybe out of turn, Dan. What do you think about that, Dan? Do you think that a why is something that's you plug and play and put another one in, or do you think a why is something that's kind of at the core of your DNA and it almost always stays the same?
I would throw the ball back to our people around. What do you think? I can't answer all the questions. So
Yeah.
what do you think? Misty, Ivan, Walter, Ron?
Thank
Will
you.
your
you.
why?
I think the ultimate core of your why should be consistent. If you don't have a consistency and the whys change a lot, that can cause a lot of confusion as well.
Well, if you look at Walmart, Walmart's why is low prices, right?
It wasn't in the beginning, though.
Well, now it's going to attract a certain type of customer,
Yes.
right? So your why is going to attract. You're going to be on the same wavelength as that customer, right?
Yep.
Well, we've all got returning customers because we know the appliances are not lasting, not holding up like they used to. So you see people more familiar faces more often, right? Why do they call you and not the guy down the road? Is it because of your price?
Mhm.
That way they're calling you back?
Mhm.
That's not the why you want, right? You don't want to be the low price guy.
Right.
You want them to call you back because they feel like you're their friend. You're going to come and help them, right? Price shouldn't even factor into it. It's how you make them feel at the end of the day when you're finished with their appliance and you leave their home. It's how they feel. They're not going to remember half the stuff you said to them, but they'll remember how they felt when you left, right?
Well, there you go, Ron. Now I feel like you're getting close to your why. Making friends, and in the end, it's a feeling that they've got this relationship with you moving forward, which is always great, right? To go into a house, never met you, you have to build trust sometimes, and it takes it a little longer to sell the job. It takes a little harder to help them navigate through it. But once you go back a second and a third time, Walter, welcome back. You're my problem solver once again, and you tell them what's wrong, and what do they often say to you, Walter? What do you think? You tell me, and I'm just going to do what you say. And all of a sudden, it flows like butter. But it also puts a lot of pressure on you because now they're expecting that. But that's what you're asking for, Ron. You're saying, I want to be their friend. I want to be in relationship with them. And it's not about the money. That's now I think you're getting to your why, Ron.
Well, you have to be profitable, right? Or you won't be around. So there's always that too. But I don't think in the customer's eye when you leave, it should be as much about the price because nobody's ever happy with when something's broken.
I charge my best friend full price too. So there is no discount on the price side. The money's the money, right?
Yeah. And same with when you walk in the door, the dog's always happy to see you, but the customer takes a while to warm up to you, right? But once you get there, they're going to call you back, right? And I have people who wait weeks for me to come to them, and then I have other people that will call, and you call them back, and they've already found somebody else, right? So
love that.
It's it's quite. Everybody's different too, different personalities, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's you want the customer to feel good when you leave. Sorry, I ramble. I'm a rambler.
No, thanks for sharing, Ron.
So I really think that your why is something that you carry with you with everything, not just work, not just people. I think it's when you really think you found it, it's I've been that way my entire life. It's not just with this, and it's why it's kind of a summation of all your core values putting into the number one, and then you'll have your core values and that. So I think that it's pretty solid. I don't think the hows will change and all of it, like to make money. That's not really. I don't think that comes into play with mine or anybody's why as much as they would think it does at first. But it's natural to jump and say to make money because it's because I know how to do it, or like Ivan said, he likes working with his hands and putting computers together. That's all part of our values, but that's just something that we use to accomplish our whys. It's not really our whys.
Yeah. And I would answer you, Doug, by saying, if you say today that people matter, probably it will stick with you till the end of your life, unless you live an awful experience and you decide that you become a hater, you'll want to take care of people your whole life. And if Misty wants people to grow, and because it's important for them, because they might feel better, they might have another perspective in life, that's what will drive our actions,
Yeah.
even if the context changes.
Yeah.
But this is easy to say because we're talking about ourselves. We're talking about our purpose. How do you scale this to a business? How do you make sure that your colleagues are in sync with this? Have you ever seen some discrepancies between your business why, or why you're doing things, and the way your people are acting? Have you ever seen this?
Right, now it's gonna get ugly. Who's gonna admit the dirt now? Go ahead, you go first, Misty. Just kidding.
We're recording, Misty, so it's time to pull. Give everything you've got.
Oh man. I mean, right, you can't say it once. You can't email it. You can't have it on a sign or a framed picture in your office. I mean, actually, you got to do all that. You got to do all that over and over and over. You have to do it in a big meeting with the whole team. You have to do it in one-to-one conversations. This is what I believe. Sometimes something great happens and I'm on the phone with the technician or the CSR and they're saying, this is what happened. This is how it ended. I'm going to celebrate with them and remind them and point out that's exactly what we're here for. You did exactly our why, or you lived out our vision statement in that moment. And so it's the individual conversation of reminding them what they did, whether they thought they were doing it or not. And also presenting it in meetings, presenting it on your walls, presenting it on your website. It needs to be everywhere and it needs to be said and lived out daily.
Yeah, well said. It starts from the top, right?
Does.
Yeah, everybody's watching you when you're at the top, and it's positive reinforcement. I know I'm just a lone wolf here. I don't have employees. I have managed employees in the automotive sector, and it does, if you don't, and you have people above you too, and it starts from the top and comes down. Yeah, if you don't have a good leader, the team's never gonna make it, right?
Yeah,
Talked about
sorry.
I was just going to say, he talked about celebrating the wins. That's one thing that we don't do here enough. You always talk about that bad customer experience, or maybe the one that blew up on the phone, or you couldn't get too fast enough, or the bad Google review. That always seems to take the light. You never take the time to talk about the successful ones. It's just it becomes it's just normal that things go well, and when they don't go well, that's when you put the attention to those ones, right?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I've noticed in like previous companies that I've worked for, that if they don't see that the leadership cares, that why doesn't mean anything to them and they won't follow it. So it's, like Doug said, it's gonna come from the top and it has to be consistent from the top. And from there everybody else will just follow and want to continue because everybody else is going to want to follow that why as well.
It's awkward sometimes, like laying something out like this. Like I remember we were part of a peer group and I noticed in all the companies in our peer group, they all answered the phone the same way. So they must have had a peer group meeting to say, I think the best way to answer the phone is say, it's a great day at Winco Appliance or Action Appliance. So I remember when, that command came down from above. And they said, starting now, whenever we answer the phone, I was like, oh my gosh, that is so terrible. That is awkward. And it's like, it's a great day. But you know what? In a short period of time, you buy in, it flows, and you start to believe it. You know, it's a great day at Action Appliance. How can I help you? But it's awkward in the beginning. But I promise you, because we read our code of values before every meeting. There's another awkward one. Like, there's like 9 bullet points. Like, who would like to read the code of values? It's like, ugh, right? And it feels weird because you don't see the buy-in. But if you're again, you're in a short meeting with 1 or 2 people or the whole team, and you say, wow, we could have handled that better based on our code of values, number 6, right? And you're referring to it. So now when people have to read it, I'm sure they're a little nervous, like Misty might be, at times, but it makes sense, and it's more natural, and it'll get more natural as we make them sing it. I'm thinking about having them sing it operatically, right? Our code of values. I don't know. Just kidding.
I have to say, I like what I'm hearing right now. And we heard about leading by example. We heard about leadership, and we heard about, we discuss about, angry customer. We transfer the complaint to our people, and somehow we're like wired to act like this. But to answer Doug's point, imagine instead of reading the code of values, you all come with an example of who in the company has an example of how he handled with respect to customers. So you share it, you live the values, and it makes the purpose shine. People matter because you put them on the scene, you show how positive they've been, you underline that, yes, we have 17 complaints this month, but we still service like 1,300 customers, and 95% of them were happy, and they will gladly refer us. We still need to address the complaints, but we need to celebrate these 1,300, for example. So and what are good examples that you're doing in your business to formalize, your purpose or your values, or have discussions with your people about good things that happen? You have any examples of what you're doing? Or maybe for yourself as a self-discipline?
Well, like I said, we don't do it enough. We talk about the bad stuff because it's a complaint session. So we're trying to actively not do that.
Yes.
But it's difficult. You always get pulled back into the negative stuff, right? And you know better, but you still do it. It's hard.
Do you have in your agenda a meeting, a set date in the week or the month where you meet with people?
No, because like I say, there's only 2 of us, so it's on a daily basis, right? Usually
Okay.
it's what's happened in that day, and like I say, you don't talk about the wins. You talk about that one grumpy warranty customer that you can't get to fast enough that left a nasty message, or hung up on you, or you always seem to get pulled back into that for some reason, and even when you actively try not to, you still do. I don't know why. It's just human nature, maybe.
It is. But now, knowing what you're knowing, what you know, what could you try in the next day, tomorrow or next week, with your business partner or colleague to change this out and to find a way to share in the morning or at the end of the day? What would be one step you could do?
Just to be aware of it, and to hold each other to some responsibility not to do it, right? If you find the other one's doing it, just remind them, and maybe go back to something else that was a little better that day. I don't think
Celebrate some good shots.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's tough to stop doing a bad habit, and so sometimes it's easier to replace it or overlap it with something intentionally positive. So what I've been doing with my children, they're teenagers, so most of the stuff is negative, right? The teacher's terrible. She is she clearly has got it out for me. So we just try to, we don't overthink it. 3 things that we're grateful for every day, you know, at the end of the day. 3 things that we were grateful for. And trust me, they get lame from all of us. But in the spirit of not taking the time at the dinner to complain about the negative teacher or the teacher's negative actions, even if it's like, you know, lunch was great because I didn't eat it. You know, like sometimes it can get really lame, but it's a positive, you know, replacing a negative. So I don't know, that might be not something that works for you and your employee, Ron, but replacing it with something positive, intentional, like it's a great day at Action Appliance. Oh, that's pretty goofy. Can you imagine if you two decided, hey, I'm going to share one good thing every day? I think it shifts the mindset change to us.
Yes, it's a good habit. Ivan, how do you see this?
Yeah, it definitely helps when you're giving positive affirmations throughout the day to your staff and everybody. It just keeps that drive and motivation up. And it, you know, keeps everybody going instead of getting in a down mood, and you know, performance goes down from there. So, you know, keeping everybody in a positive is going to keep driving that, and you know, all the good customers are going to come because positivity attracts. So, you know, it's just going to keep bringing in the customers you want and the employees you want.
Thank you. Misty?
Sorry about that. I had to come off camera for a second and actually help a customer. So I'm sorry if I missed a little bit of it. Had a fire to put out quickly. So just caught the tail end of what he was just saying. So I apologize if I missed what you're calling me out for.
Okay, we're discussing, you know, how do you make sure that you share your why, and how do you share positive experiences, or how do you make sure, you know, if let's say Doug's why is people matter, how do you make sure that you show it to your customers but also your employees?
It definitely takes a conscious effort to keep it at the top of your mind, for sure. You know, I usually put stuff on my board in front of me, so I'm looking at her. I can see it every day. So I would say just doing my best to try and keep it at the forefront of everything that I do at any given time during the day. Just try and keep that at the forefront of my mind.
And you talk about on your side, on your wall, you have a written things that you've put. Did you write to congratulate an employee? Did you? What could we see on this wall if we saw it?
So right now I just have positive affirmations. I would say, so one of the things that I do in the office is every Thursday I meet with, every Thursday it rotates different technicians. And it doesn't, we're so proactive with bringing people in because there's an issue that we're not, you know, well, that I would call it reactive, that we're not very proactive with, like, these are the things that you're doing good, or let's just communicate. And so this is actually, I've only been doing it for the past few weeks. So I bring in 3 different techs every Thursday, have one-on-ones with them. And then every Friday, I have a rolling office is what I call it. It's just a little chair on wheels kind of with a desktop on it. And I take my laptop and I move myself kind of around the building, and I'm not going to sit with people just because, hey, you've done something wrong. I'm going with people to also just kind of listen in on what they're doing and maybe give them positive affirmations of, you know, things that they're doing right. Yeah. So instead of just being so reactive all the time, trying to be proactive. And by doing that, we're opening the lines of communication more with each employee, letting them know that they care, especially with the techs. I mean, they're out in the field, they work solo all the time. So it's basically like they work alone, and sometimes they may not feel as much like the team, like the people in the office do, because we communicate in person so much more within each other here. So just making them also know that, you know, hey, you're appreciated, you're doing a really good job. Just positive affirmations and actually getting their ideas and their buy-in on things as well. So again, like a conscious effort to actually do those things and be proactive about it instead of just reactive. Well, we're having a communication because you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
Well, how about we just have a communication to have a communication?
That's great. That's great stuff.
And you do it, it's in your agenda, so
It's
every,
just in my agenda. Yeah. Actually, usually every Tuesday I pick which 3 techs I'm going to have come in, and I put it, we use Service Desk, and I just put it as an item on their route. That way they know. It's usually I try to make it 30 minutes just so they're in and out of here. Don't want to make it a stressor on their day that they're going to be here for a long period of time. As for the office staff, that's not necessary. I just plan to not be working in my office that day. I'm working, but from my laptop on a little mini desk with wheels that I cruise around the building with. But it's more so just sitting with people and observing, and yeah.
Great job identifying that our technicians can feel like on their own little remote islands, right? They don't.
They very much are.
Yeah, that's so awesome that you recognize that. That's, I think, important. So good job, Misty.
so quick hello to Jerome, who just joined us. Obviously, we won't summarize where we're at right now because we only have 10 minutes left, but we're glad that you joined. So if we had to summarize what we discussed, how important for you is it to have a clear why? And is it important for you to keep it vivid in your business?
I would say yes. It would be important to keep a solid why and a very vivid image of it, because that's what's going to keep you motivated and giving you that drive to continue even on the days that it doesn't seem like it's going to work out, or it's, you know, it's a really bad day. Having that good positive why and a vivid vision of it will get you through those days.
Thank you.
Great.
It's like the final round. Walter, Ron, Misty, Doug.
I've never been in a book club before, so I wasn't really sure what to expect today. So it's kind of nice to know, even moving forward, like kind of what type of layout this is going to be, kind of how we be communicating. So I'm excited about continuing this going forward, but I wasn't sure what to expect coming into today.
I mean, as we read the book, we can distract Daniel by just commenting on things that we read and
Yes.
talking about how they made us feel instead of him grilling us, right? But hey, if we're not caught up, it's week 1. It's okay.
But it's also going to hold us accountable to read the book.
Oh yeah, because Daniel's bold. He'll just go, hey, you, it's your turn.
Yeah, so I mean, is that the goal? Like, is by the next time, I mean, I know this is very new, this is the very first one, is that kind of the goal, that like we have the book completed, or like we're at a certain point through the book so we can at least be at the same level and understand, you know?
Yes, that would be the goal. You know, in the agenda that I pulled, it suggests that by next meeting you should have read chapter 1 to 4.
Perfect.
And I would suggest that if you don't have time to read the 4 chapters, go on YouTube and search Simon Sinek Golden Circle. Make sure to watch this. And then it's really a question of sharing, you know, the what's in this book. You know, and as of what were you expecting for this book club first meeting? I had no clue whatsoever, Misty. So it's the same for me.
Great. I want to say you've been amazing, and I love all the engagement with everyone. So I'm really excited about it. Thank you.
That's the goal. And you know, we don't have to come into an agreement of what it is exactly. We have the right to have our own opinions and to take whatever we get from this book. And Misty, I would say the purpose is to grow. It's just to hear from each other, share, and you know, we're all in the appliance repair industry. So we definitely, when you have a concern, it can apply to everybody's company. So That would be the goal. So have a read of this chapters 1 to 4, and I'll do a quick roundtable to ask you in one word, what would you say you got from this meeting? So Walter, one word.
Extra.
Extra, thank you. Ron.
Knowledge.
Knowledge, thank you. Ivan. Maybe Ivan is not available. Misty.
Purpose.
Purpose. What to look up? We'll share with everyone, Jerome. It's the Golden Circle by Simon Sinek. It's a 7-minute video. It's a TED Talk, one of the top 3 largest TED Talk. But we'll make sure that Sarah shares it with everyone. And what's your one word, Doug?
Relationships.
Yes, that's cool. So did I forget anybody? I don't think so. So it's 5:23. So we'll meet. I don't know when exactly. I'll have Sarah and Maggie to follow up on this. And I'm glad that you attended this meeting. And the purpose is to make sure that we get something out of this and we develop these relationships. So thank you all for your time. And I guess, Doug, you're in control of the meeting. You're going to stop the recording and everything.
Yep.
All right. Unless you have any question, I suggest we call it quit for today.